Hey, good morning. Let's talk about self-care. Bubble baths, exercise, great food. Nah, that's not where we're going with this today. Stay with me because we're going to get real. We are going to talk about some real stuff. Hey, it's Tammy here, and on this channel we talk about loving yourself, loving others, and being the best you're here to be. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, come on in, let's chat. Recently, I was feeling a little overwhelmed with all the stuff that's happening in the country. I was feeling very stressed. I was actually starting to feel physically sick. Physically sick. A lot of times we don't realize how much stress can physically impact our bodies. But that stuff that's happening emotionally to us, that gets inside us. And that affects how we feel every day, all day long. And I was feeling it. I was feeling it. And so, I took the bubble baths. I focused on my diet. I made sure to get out and get walks every day. But I thought, something's just not working. Something is just not working here. And what can I do? Because I'm just feeling all the stuff, all the feels. And so I thought about it and I came to some really difficult decisions about jumping off social media. Now, social media for me, I don't know about TikTok. I'm still on TikTok, I'm still on YouTube, but I'm not on Facebook or Instagram anymore. And at first, Instagram was not much of anything to me. I wasn't super active there. And it felt a little shallow to me. It was just surface level communication. So I just deactivated that. I cut that. And that felt good. And I I I deleted that. Did I say deactivate? I deleted it completely. But Facebook I have been on for over a decade. And I have made a lot of friends through the site. I've reconnected with a lot of old friends through the site. And I've really enjoyed that camaraderie and communication. And so for me, at first, I just deactivated that. And it was a struggle. I kept wanting to touch that Facebook icon on my phone, see who's posted something, see what's up, see what's going on. And I kept going for that. And then I realized this is like an addiction for me. And I have another video on, I'll link it up here, but I have another video on people pleasing that explains, where I've come from and the perfectionism. Another video on that, perfectionism that I've worked hard to overcome. I learned to people please before I learned to read, which is saying a lot because I read as much as I breathe. So for me, Facebook had become this other, as much as I cut people out, as much as I worked on myself, as much as I did the hard work, Facebook had become another place for me to dance for the likes. Let's people please and get all the likes and do it all in the name of inspiring others and helping others to have a better day. And the words of my therapist after I went through my divorce, and I'll link my book for that story below. After I went through my divorce and after I was dealing with a lot of other personal stuff, my therapist at the time said an important thing that really stuck with me. She said, "You are not responsible for making other people happy." I know it seems like a simple thing to say and to hear, but a lot of us, I want to say especially women, but I think a lot of us have this feeling inside of us that it's our job to make the peace, to see that others are happy, to really put ourselves out there and sacrifice some of that personal boundary for the good of others. And I heard my therapist in my head saying, "You are not responsible for making everybody happy." And I thought, social media for me has become just another stage, just another spot to make people happy and to sacrifice my own boundaries. It's all about performing. It's all about being out there. It's all about, you know, forgetting what's best for me and doing what's best for others. If you've watched my other videos, you know that I am a firm believer that we can't properly give to others without first giving to ourselves. And I had, as much as I had cut other areas of my life that were imposing on my boundaries, I had not cut social media. And there were no boundaries with social media. I was real, I was raw, I was out there. People were seeing my stuff. And I realized that's a huge problem with social media, because if you post, anybody can see that who's on your friends list, whether they interact with you or not. And I was missing those genuine interactions. I was missing that. And I was feeling viewed. And even though I was putting it out there, even though I was asking for it, I was feeling viewed. And I thought, you have not been keeping the boundaries that you've worked so hard to set. You don't have boundaries here. So let's talk about social media for a minute. It is a stage. It is a platform, and we can use it for good or we can use it for bad. And lately, it has become nothing but mudslinging fest. A mudslinging fest of all mudslinging fests. And that to me was just getting inside me, all the negativity, all the arguing and bickering and conflict. And I thought, that's not what I'm about. That's not what I want to see in the world. I want to see more love. I want to see more peace. I want to see more compassion. I want to see people out there lifting other people. I want to see people out there understanding that we are all here together. We are all one. If you followed any of my videos on this channel, you know that I believe if I lift you, I lift myself. And if I drag you down, I drag myself down. So for me, we are all here together, and we are all here to help each other. And that, I'd really gotten away from that on Facebook, and I was getting dragged down into all the mudslinging. And that's not what I'm about. That's not what I'm here for. And so I took those big old scissors and I did myself a little trimming of the social media channels. And so I had already deleted Instagram. I had deactivated Facebook, and I just made the difficult decision. I'm like, okay, it's out. It's not serving me. It's out. Now, granted, it's only been a couple weeks, 3 weeks. I don't know. Some people deactivate or take breaks longer than that. But for me, that was huge. What is your thing? What is your trigger? What is your weakness? What is it that is imposing on your boundaries? What is it that is contributing negatively to your health? For me, it was Facebook. It was social media. And it was huge to make that decision after over a decade to delete that. And I did, and I'm still like, oh, should I get back on? Should I get back on? I don't know if I'll get back on. Maybe I'll get back on and I'm still neglecting my boundaries by considering that. Okay? Putting a little peace and love out into the world today, asking you, what are your boundaries? Where are they? And how are you ignoring them? How are you letting other people come into your world in a way that's not positive and feeding for you? I heard something once, if it doesn't feed you, it depletes you. And that's absolutely true. What are you letting deplete you today? Because things can't deplete you on accident. That's a boundary you have failed to set. I have a great video on boundaries. Take a look at it. But that's a boundary you have failed to set. If something's depleting you, you have let something into your space that shouldn't be there. And I'm not going to say it's easy to have those boundaries. I'm not going to say it's, just set that boundary and go with it. And no, it's not. It's difficult. It's hard. It's challenging. And sometimes it can destroy parts of our lives to set a boundary that we appreciate and we love, and it can break down relationships. I know the boundaries I've set have definitely broken down relationships, but then I have to ask myself, were those relationships that belonged in my life to begin with? They weren't feeding me, they were depleting me. So I ask you today, what is depleting you? And how can you set a boundary? A lot of times when we think about self-care, we think about adding things to our lives. We add soothing baths, we add candles, we add a beautiful walk in nature, we add. Sometimes self-care is subtraction. Sometimes self-care is about cutting things out, taking things away, getting things far away from you. Sometimes self-care is deleting social media, deleting friends, deleting activities. Okay? So today, sit down, get your journal out, get a pen, or just sit down in a quiet space and think, what are some things that I'm allowing into my space that shouldn't be there? What are some things that I need to delete from my life? It was not easy for me to delete social media. Facebook, Instagram was simple. Facebook, not so much. That was really hard. That was really, really hard. So it's not going to be easy. The thing that's really depleting you is probably something you feel in your head you love and you need and you have to have. It can be like an addiction. What is depleting you? And how can you set a boundary? How can you set a boundary to protect your space, to protect your emotional health, which is going to protect your physical health? All right, think about that and talk to me in the comments below about setting boundaries and your thoughts on cutting things out of your life. And subscribe to my channel. I know I'm not super consistent here, but I post when I feel like it. I do what I feel like. I'm working on it. But subscribe to the channel for more like this. And please, if you enjoyed this video, hit the little bell and the like button. No, hit the, whatever. See, this is what's going on. Hit the little bell when you subscribe to get the notifications, and hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. And we're just crazy here. We say what we think, and we move forward in a positive direction, and we work on bettering ourselves and loving others and throwing our gorgeousness out into the world. Have a great day. Love you. I'm here for you. Go throw your gorgeousness out of the world.